All right, so today I'm going to review everything that I'm using as far as like indicators and trend patterns and what my current strategy is to trade a particular direction. So I'm going to share with you the 5 minute time frame first because that's what I look at when it comes to trying to find out my entries and exits. Okay.
My 5 minute not look like yours. Did you already like enlarge it?
Yeah, so let me just go over everything I have and then we can go
Okay.
over your questions.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So as far as setup itself, you can see my screen right here. I have the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 15, and the 1 hour. These are the four time frames that I like to look at in a stock that I want to trade. So that way it gives me an idea, um, what are the bigger time frames look like, the smaller time frames, and everything else in between. And then as far as like indicators, here's a list of indicators that I'm currently using. So I have the um, multi-time frame squeeze signal, which is what you see here in the upper left corner, these little tiny boxes, right here. It says the color red, green, and whatnot. So when there's a squeeze, if you don't know what the TTM squeeze signals are, it's just a consolidation building up to where buyers and sellers are both um, kind of accumulated, and eventually the stock is going to make a move to one direction or the other, and obviously the other side of the trade that's loaded as well, they're going to have to cut their losses, and so therefore they become fuel to accelerate that move to that direction. So that's why it's a squeeze, right? Because one side of the party or traders is getting squeezed out of their position, whether it be long or short, right? And then so the multi-time frame squeeze, it just allows me to, or it displays that, is there a squeeze in a 1 minute, the 5 minute, or the 15, or the 1 hour, or even on the daily, right? And then, of course, as you know, different time frames requires different um, uh, duration, requires different duration to allow that play to happen. Okay, and that's what it does. It just gives you that signal. TTM trend, which is the candles um, that you see. So the normal candles, it'll give you like green red as it goes, up and down and whatnot. But with the TTM trend, it gives you, if it's all trending in one direction, it gives you that color. So obviously, downtrending is all red, uptrending is all green. No matter if it's that candle close, on a downward, like just one candle, but if the trend overall is still upward, then it's gonna remain green. Okay. The daily open, which is the orange line that you see here on my screen, right? It just plots it out automatically. You can enter that yourselves, and it gives me an idea. Hey, is the price action above or below? And that gives me a a layer of confirmation if I want to trade the upside or the downside, depending on where the current price action from the open price. And then, of course, I have the daily SMA, which is the daily moving average. The daily moving average, the 200 daily moving average doesn't move. It's fixed on a chart. Whatever time frame you're in, it's plotted as a daily. So therefore, if you go on a different time frame, it's still going to be at the same price. So let's just say the daily um, a 200 daily moving average is at like, let's just say 390. When I go to like a 1 minute, it's still going to be at 390 versus the EMAs will fluctuate depending on the time frame you're in. And then of course I have the exponential moving average. I have the 10, the 20, um, the 50, the 100, and the 200. Okay. The next thing is the trend reversal signal, which we rename on the chart itself that you can see. It says buy sell signal. This code is a really long, complicated code that's custom. You can't find that on the regular Thinkorswim, but basically signals you a buy sell signal. Okay, and it's pretty accurate based on what we've seen so far. And then the last one is show price line. Um, let me just so it says show price line and then TTM Squeeze Pro. Okay. So show price line, as you can see on my 1 minute, you see this gray line right here? Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gray dotted line. So that is the current price level. Um, you think the default Thinkorswim actually doesn't plot that line, and I found that code online, and so it plots it across. So that way, if I'm looking left, I know where the current price is versus like trying to hover my crosshair on it and try to find where is the current price to kind of line up with my levels. Okay. And then the last one is the TTM Squeeze Pro, which is what you see here on the bottom, this indicator right here. Again, this is similar to the multi-time frame squeeze. It's just now it's plotted itself, right? You can actually see down here. Um, there's a video of it online. If you can YouTube it, you can find, the explanation of what they are. But exactly what I just said. It's just a compression of buyers and sellers in one spot, and it's going to make a significant move, whether it be to the upside or downside. Okay, now as far as like strategy, I'm going to try to get this done in less than 3 minutes, hopefully. My main strategy is figuring out the trend, right? So in a bigger time frame, like what you see here on the 1 hour, I have a trend plotted, and I'm using this tool, this trend line right here. Okay, so you can like click your mouse, center mouse, and you can find that tools. But basically, I can show you the specs. Here are the specs right here. Okay, and of course the way it works is you just select that tool. Okay, and then let's see, you have a trend here. What you want to do is you want to draw from the high to the most recent trend, like which is like a touch point. So you can see here, I like to do a 3-point touch point. So go one, right, where you start, two, and then here's the third one right here. So if let's just say the rest of this didn't exist yet, so you can plot it out like that, right? Okay. And once you click it, then you can plot to the next point right here. So I'm gonna put an arrow where I started. So I started right here, and then I plotted this guy right here, and then I touched it right here. And then the rest of this, it plots itself. So then you can use this channel as your zones to wherever it ping pongs back and forth. That's the ideal behavior, right? It stays within that. It's similar to what happened here, right? I have one, two, three, but I actually use these touch point right here, right? So I use these touch points and this guy. So you can see right here, I use that guy, I use that guy, and this guy. Because this was already plotted and I was trying to figure out, hey, what's gonna happen over here? What's gonna happen in this area? And so I use that to kind of get an idea. As you can see, there's a mid-level broke, and this ideally right here, this is where I try to go long for potential bounce, and it didn't. And now it's outside of that channel. Now you can do another channel, which is you have one, two, three touch points. You can go right here. So you can do the channel. One, there's two, and then here's your third one right here. So now you have a channel here, right? Now you're within this channel, right? So possibility of this coming down here and staying within this channel. If it comes out of this channel, so then I'm gonna guess it's gonna create another channel to probably right here and make its own little graph like that. Okay, so that's on the bigger time frame. You can do that. Let me clear this out. You can do that on a 5 minute. Here's a 5 minute time frame. So obviously you have kind of a channel going on here. Okay, so right now you have three touch point. You have one, two, three. So what you can do is you can do your channel here. You got one, okay, two, and then three. So to recap, I have one touch point, two, and then three. So that's kind of what I did. And you can keep plotting that out as you trade. You can even go in a smaller time frame. Oh, okay, that's fine. You can even go in a smaller time frame. You can see the 1 minute right here. It plotted itself. Okay. So that's pretty much the strategy. And what you want to do is you want to use like this supply and demand zones right here. Supply and demand just means the area of imbalance, right? That's where buyers and sellers like uh, basically overcame the other side of the trade. So right here, obviously sellers took over, and over here, obviously buyers took over. And if you can line these zones up with the channels, right? So let's just say it gets to here, and you have a trend line example going this way, right? For example, it's right here, and it's touching this point right here. This is like the dip zone. Then this is a higher probability because it's a demand zone, which is buyers, and you're also within the trend line. Okay, so trading is just a probability game, so you want to increase your probability as you take your trade. And that's pretty much my whole process when it comes to taking a trade. Okay, is that making sense?
Yes. Okay.
So right
So,
now, so let's see, buy sell signal. So right now we have a buy signal right here. And so if this is basically there's a stop line right over here. I don't know if it's plotted. You should be able to see it. Okay, remove. There should be a stop line. Actually, this one doesn't have a stop line because this is the purple buy sell signal is a neutral. Basically, it's just a warning that hey, this could go up because the last signal was a sell. Um, all right, so go ahead. What was your question?
oh, nothing. Just I'm gonna. I'm guessing you're going to post this when you get a chance on under the education or um, and then I'll just kind of look at it again. It's kind of fast,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, definitely. I'll post this. This is recorded, so is that making sense so far?
yeah, it does. It does. It's just trying to kind of keep track of it whenever it's when the trades are going. Well, not the trades, but when the patterns are not going within those trend lines, just kind of knowing when how to draw the next one.
Yeah. Um, time will get you to really feel the directional behavior as you stare at the charts more often and really plot it out. And what I've done too is like even when there's no trading happening, what I do is I just look left, right? I just look left and start plotting like, okay, let's just pretend I play this pretend game. Like pretend this area doesn't exist. If that area doesn't exist, how do I plot from the left side to say, hey, where's the possibility of it going up? And if it goes down, where is the stop point, right? And all you have to do is just looking left and draw your levels, right? So if you have that, so I know there's sellers came in right here, right? Sellers came over and took that area, and then buyers came in right here in this area and took it up. So then you're within the range. As you can see, the way it behaved is sellers took over here and it pushed up a little bit higher. Well, what you want to do is look left. Okay, what was a little bit higher? What was a little bit higher here to your left, right? So typically you can see that in a bigger time frame. Okay, so as you can see, a little bit left, sellers still took over. There was still sellers right here, right? And that's all
Mhm.
that's all you have to do is like, okay, why did it came down? Well, simple explanation. Sellers took over. Why did it go up? Well, buyers took over. And that's all you have to do. As simple as that sound is there was sellers up here, sold it pretty hard. Buyers came in at this levels, brought it up. Well, now you're at the sell zone again. Sellers were up here. So therefore, are they still there? Are they not? And that's that's kind of a toss-up for any traders to figure out, and that's why you have to develop an edge when you're trading, is you're playing a probability, right? And that's what you call supply and demand zone. So the supply came in right here and it retested again and supply was still there. So meaning this trader was a massive large position waiting to get filled. So therefore it came up right there and sold it off and everybody else jumped on the bandwagon because the rest of the other days everything ran up. Well, everything ran up and everybody's thinking, "Oh, there's a seller here, so it's going to come down here soon. I better book my profit." So therefore, it drove a selling pressure. And the same thing on the behavior on the downside. So right now the downside is consolidating right here. So what does this mean? Well, that means sellers stop selling and buyers are starting to come in. So now are they gonna allow it to pop up? Are they gonna allow it? Well, here's a level in this area right here. Buyers trying to come in, and then sellers took over again. So we know there's a seller in this area. Okay, and that's it. You rinse and repeat that process on in any time frame. You could go in the 1 minute, right? The 1 minute is just means you're moving sooner. You're moving faster, right? You're zoomed in. Is that making sense? So if you're looking at the 1 hour time frame on a move, well, that took longer. You see what I'm saying? That took longer as far as time. So what confuses a lot of people is what time frame should I look at? It's like it doesn't matter what time frame you look at. Is the duration you want to trade? How long of a duration do you want to trade? Just know that these levels on the bigger time frame are more significant, it's more intense because there's more compressed time within that zone. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So this area right here, this whole area is a lot of time. This is a lot of sellers, right? Versus the same pattern on a 1 minute, there's volume wise is less, right?
Mhm.
If this is the 1 hour time frame, and I can tell you this is based on volume. If you calculate each one of these days, that's millions, millions and millions of shares stuck in that area, right? Both um, buyers and sellers. Well, one side has to give. It's a tug of war here. It's a tug of war. One side's going to lose. The moment they lose, it's going to accelerate a momentum to that direction. And that's why you see here. So whenever you see a consolidation, there's always going to be a big momentum. And you can see right here, big consolidation, big momentum, big consolidation, big momentum.
Mm.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Mhm.
So when you're zoomed into 1 minute, right? You zoomed into a 1 minute. Here's another consolidation. Once it picks a real direction, it's going to be a momentum. So therefore, this is where opportunity is really presenting itself to go, all right, I don't care which direction it's going to go. All I know is we're going to get some volume. And that's it. Rinse and repeat that process.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you click on your studies again, real quick? I just want to take a snapshot of that. I'm going to focus on those um, this morning. Okay.
Yeah, so there's
Scroll
this.
down.
Yep, there you go. Hmm. All right, that's it.
Okay. I think I got enough to keep me busy for today.
All right, sounds good. I'll post this later on.
All right.
All right,
Thanks, TJ.
thanks.